When Michelle Veillette was first booked at the Warren County Jail, he was put on suicide watch. By January 28th, the jail mental health expert said he was no longer a threat to himself, and eventually Veillette was released into the general population.
At approximately 1:39 this morning, a correctional officer was making security rounds within the jail facility. And at that time, he observed Michael Veillette lying on the floor next to his cot. Immediately checking, the officer found Veillette had committed suicide by using the sheet that was tied off onto a towel rack.
Prosecutor Rachel Hutzel feels somewhat cheated by Veillette's suicide.
Being confident in my case, I would have preferred to have brought him to justice for the death of these little children and his wife. Unfortunately, he decided that he was not going to allow us to bring him to justice. He is going to face now justice of another kind, but he is not going to face justice in a court of law. And I think that that's another tragedy for Warren County.
She says she won't speculate as to his state of mind, but points out he was facing the death penalty if convicted of killing his wife and 4 kids.
No, he'd been in general population, basically, out with the folks that were in that pod. There's 20-some beds in that pod, so he'd been communicating back and forth. I was back in there in that particular pod last Thursday, I believe it was, and saw him, and he was mixing with population. So there's nothing unusual about his actions at that time, even up to last night.
Sheriff Tom Harris says Veillette gave no indication he planned to take his own life. While he did keep a journal and a collection of writings in his cell, the sheriff says they're still going through those papers. They have not found a suicide note per se. From the Warren County Jail, Bill Reinhart, News Radio 700 WLW.